You can just write your name and number.
She just leave before she starts crying.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see y'all.
Good morning.
The rain scared everybody off. I have no idea what's going on. This is crazy. So weird. I'm sure people will be rolling in. Mulder is in Texas today, so he will not be here. We got in the crowd anyway, though, so we're good to go. But let's go ahead and get the day started with doing some cheers for beers. Tell me something good. What have you seen in the market? Anybody on Zoom is welcome to join us as well and talk. I need at least two. I'll start at once. Nobody? Nothing good?
Thank you for stepping up.
Getting to do this thing in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
What's the pricing looking like?
Yeah, well, I think it's less than they do. That's all I'm saying.
Well, when we look at the numbers every day too, there's a lot of price reductions going on, a lot of withdrawals, which in my head makes me think everything's overpriced right now.
Are you seeing that a lot of those withdrawals and or price reductions and even increases on new construction?
I haven't looked that deep into it. I'm just looking at the straight numbers. So I don't know. That's a good thing to look into. Yeah. Yeah. Why? What are you seeing? Do you see new construction coming down?
I see some new construction being withdrawn. And then coming back. Some of them are going down a little bit. For the most part, bunch that are going up. You know that time frame where they start the building
Yeah.
and then they'll increase by 5,
Yeah.
10, 20,000. I did see a lot of withdrawn on new construction within the past 10 days or so. And then new on market.
Yeah. Interesting. So now we can delve into that a little bit more. Anybody, tell me something good. Choose for beers.
We had a fun Wednesday last week, and Enrique, I'm so glad he's there because he's on the agent side on more of the tech. So thank you for being there. He was really fun.
It was very, very nice. Finally getting to change.
The looks on the faces, they were like, that was great. But it's not learning good.
Right.
So you like, isn't it good?
Yeah, introduce her.
Pamela Alvarez, she's going to the new education study for her test.
Nice. Anybody else? Cheers for peers. Tell me something good. Anything you're seeing? Okay.
We're glad to see Renee.
I know.
I feel so loved when I come back. And much appreciated. I miss you guys.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Ashley, come on up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
Amazing.
That's what I like to hear. Well, I'm Ashley Connor, the Kelly and Sword here, right across the hall from you guys. And I wanted to talk to y'all a little bit today about condos. So I know that's kind of like the bane of all of our existence, but it's a necessary evil. First off, when you're filling out a contract with a condo, is there any sort of additional form you need to use? Yes. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so condo, resale, purchase and sale exhibit. We want to be attaching these to our contracts if it's really a condo, okay? It is a little bit more difficult to do the legal description, so feel free to send it to me, call me if you need help filling it out. But basically, you're gonna have the deed, and we all know where to find the legal description on the deed, right? You're gonna fill in that information in these little boxes. So make sure you're filling that out correctly. Know that where the condo declarations are recorded is not the same thing as the deed book and page where the deed is recorded, is not the same thing as a plat book and page or a condo plat book and page. So there's all sorts of different locations. So pay attention and fill this out carefully, but again, you're using the deed to fill this out. Where do we get the deed?
You.
You, correct. Correct. I will pull the deed for you. That's how you tell whether the property is a condo or a townhome. You can't just look at it and tell what kind of property it is, okay? So there's gonna be some sort of reference to a condo declaration. Yeah,
I'm always curious, why do you have to attach that exhibit instead of just checking the boxes at the normal?
so they have this because there's a little bit of language about condos that's helpful. Namely, this third paragraph basically saying that the seller has no control over the common elements. So you can't, like the buyer can't hold the seller responsible for updating something that's a common element. So that's why we use this. Technically, you could just attach the deed as an exhibit for the legal description, but then you miss out on this. So you still have a contract without it. Yeah.
Hey, so when the borrower is getting financing, is there a special stip that they should put in the contract as well?
Yes, absolutely. It's on here, printed, ready to go, steal my thunder a little bit, but. yeah.
So you can't tell us the, real issue before you get the deed, what you pay. You have to have the actual deed.
No, you can do that. The problem is the realist report is not always accurate. I would say it's good maybe 85% of the time. But that 15%, is it really worth having the wrong property that you contractually agreed to sell or contractually agreed to buy? Because sometimes the realist report, what it has is like if there was a loan and the loan gets paid off and the cancellation is filed, they'll say that's the most recent deed. That gets confusing. Or there'll be a similar name and it just gets like categorized incorrectly. I've gotten quite a few phone calls about who is this random person that owns my property? When I go to the tax records, go to the deed records, that person's not in there. So it's a realist error.
And can Jessica pull that information, because she pulls plats for us?
She can, if you send her the deed book and page, she can pull the legal description, she can pull the deed. Sometimes if things are more complicated, we just pull that main thing, whereas Ashley can probably get you the most accurate, or if there's something attached to that, or if there's something further than that. She's. Yeah, that is.
Isn't there a difference between asking an attorney to pull legal information versus somebody else, including ourselves, who are not necessarily attorneys?
I wouldn't call that legal information. I'm certainly not giving advice. I'm literally just pulling something that anyone who is paid for a membership can pull. So I guess you have the added benefit that I look at these all day long, like that's what my job is. So I look at them, make sure that it's the most accurate information I can provide. But if, like Jessica's pulling the same deed as I am, there's no difference. But again, with the realist report, the deed book and page you give Jessica could be wrong. So I use the tax records, which you could look up and do those steps, but why do that when I can do it super quick and easy for you? So yeah, you want to pull that. That's how you know it's a condo. Don't just rely on what the listing says as to whether it's a condo or a townhouse. So be careful on that. So to the most exciting part of what I'm talking about that Hunter has brought up for us is this really amazing special stipulation that you should use in 100% of your conventional loan contingency contracts. Okay, so, you know, in Florida, the building collapse, you have all these new regulations, all these new steps that lenders have to take. And if you've done a loan where there is a condo, you know that the condo association is not always super helpful and responsive in getting these documents to the lender. It's not the lender's fault that they don't have them. If they've asked for them and they're just waiting, there's nothing they can do other than sit there and wait for the actual association to provide them the documentation that they need to be able to clear that building from their standpoint, okay? So what this stipulation basically says, and it's in addition to your financing, it's in addition to your appraisal, so it's another contingency that basically says a certain number of days for the HOA to provide it. If they don't provide that information in that time frame, then the buyer can terminate the contract. So this is imperative to be in every conventional loan contract that you have that's a condo. It's special stipulation 528. I would read it to you, but as you can see, it's like a big chunky thing, so might bore you to tears to read the whole thing. But the takeaway is this is incredibly helpful for your lender. It's really not a huge issue from the seller's perspective, from a listing perspective, because at the end of the day, if the condo doesn't get approved, they're not going to be able to sell to that buyer anyway. And that's good for them to know that they can't actually, you know, their association's not approved. So not a huge risk for the seller, but an incredibly large benefit for the buyers. And just as importantly, it's a big benefit for your lender as well, because we want to support that relationship too. So make their life easier, use this exhibit.
Where do we find that exhibit? What's it called?
Same place you would find all your GAR forms, there's a list of special stipulations that GAR puts out. So one of the forms, and it looks a little bit different when you guys pull it. I have like the training forms, if you will, that's why I say for training only massively across the quarter. But if you were to go pull up the forms, one of the forms essentially that you have is a list of the GAR pre-written special stipulations. So really, you should use those, you should look at that before you write any special stipulation ever, because this has been vetted by a gazillion agents, multiple attorneys, and put a lot of hours into writing. So, but this one is excellent, so you want to use it. You don't need it for your FHA contract, because the very last paragraph in your FHA exhibit says, if the property is a condominium unit, the purchase of the property shall be contingent upon the condominium in which the unit is located being eligible for and approved by FHA. So already it's in your FHA contracts, it's not in the conventional contract, so make sure you're adding that to your conventional contingent contracts. The other thing about condos that I wanted to point out that I've had a couple issues with recently is that information that the lender gathers from the HOA is not the same thing as an HOA closing letter. So I had one where the buyer said, oh, I've already paid for the HOA closing letter. You can just get it from the lender. First, we really need to get it from the HOA directly, but also, you know, we say, okay, we'll look at it, see if we can get that approved. When it came down to it, what they had was really just the documents that the lender needed to clear it on their side. So know that there's a difference between those documents that the lender is getting is more of a questionnaire. They want to see like the safety of the building, are there enough reserves to pay for repairs, that kind of thing. Whereas HOA closing letter is looking more at how much does the seller owe? Are there any initiation fees, that kind of thing. So different information, two separate sets of documents, maybe setting expectations for people that if they paid for something through their lender, that's not going to be the closing letter. Okay, so just kind of be on the lookout for that. Questions on condos?
I got a question on, sort of connected to, you may have talked about this. Last time I was writing up a listing agreement, and when you go across the lead-based exhibit, I've not noticed this before, but it now says, has there been a dwelling on the property? Not is the building built before 1978, but has there been a dwelling on the property that was built before 1978? And if it is, you're supposed to build it as name. So is that's something everyone knew, and I'm the only idiot that doesn't know that. Yes, yes, thank you.
In the property, any portion of the property as well. So that's the goal of that is, you know, with all of this, like, I guess, hype around antique stuff, you might have a mantle from 1842 that you're putting in your, 2015 house. You still need the exhibit.
Okay, so the example I'm giving is like the building I lived in was built in 2005.
Mhm.
However, there had been a hotel that was built in 1960 that was partially financed by Dorsey and the Bob. And they tore that down to the condo building. Would you still need to be using what they, that's the way I read it.
That's not how I interpret it. I'll go back and look again, because I think it's really really high standard to expect people to know the whole history of what was on the land.
Yeah, the way it's written, I read it was, has there been a dwelling on the property independent ever before versus raw land?
I have not read it that way before, but I'll go reread it and report
I
back.
made a deal with this.
Well, it doesn't
It doesn't hurt.
I made it happen. So,
Yeah, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not.
Well,
But I'll double check that.
and that's an exhibit based on the knowledge of the current owner, isn't it? So if you don't know, you don't know.
yeah, which I just happened.
You just happen to know, you're just so much more advanced and your knowledge is so much more.
Not according to Dallas.
And bring you the point on that, with the lead-based paint, when it was built in 2005, there was a lot more going on to have property and to really clean things up at that point. And it was also that more funky wacky time.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, you didn't know. But
Well,
it's,
then the question is, when they say dwelling, is it,
An
like,
existing-
an office, that's not a dwelling necessarily, it's a hotel room. You know,
Right. Yeah, let me look at it and look at
I
that
think
very
you-
specific wording. You got it, you got it. I will report back. I will report back.
So you're saying there's two HOA closing letters, help me distinguish what you're talking about, there's two, one is still.
One HOA closing letter. Other documents that the lender needs that is not a closing letter. So it's the HOA questionnaire and then an HOA closing letter. Now, what everyone calls them could get very convoluted, but if it's come from the lender, that is not the same thing that the closing attorney needs. Different information. Yeah,
If the listing is busy and they don't fill out a CAD, does the bar have to pay for the closing letter?
yes.
What I thought, okay.
Yep, that's correct. It's kind of closer to like examining title, essentially. You're examining, we're buyer beware. So what puts the burden on the seller to pay for it is the CAD. So no CAD buyer buys it. Yeah, and then real quick, I'm gonna run through some of the upcoming stuff we've got. I'm gonna put my Renee hat on even though she's here. So on Thursday, June 1st, from 10 to 11, I'll be teaching a class. It'll be in person and Zoom, but I super love when you guys come in and are here. So I've got real faces, real people. It's a lot more fun for me that way. But I'm gonna be talking about how to make your offers stand out. I know a lot of pockets are really heating up. We're having multiple offers. So we're gonna go over what really kind of packs a punch, and maybe some things to avoid in making your offer or helping your offer get accepted. On Friday, June 2nd, we've got our birthday lunch for the April and May birthdays at 12:30. And then on Monday, June 5th, got coffee talk with Shelter from 10 to 11. So come with all the questions that you guys have. Thursday, June 8th, again with Shelter, we've got the new agent meet and greet. So if you're newer to the office, we've got a book that we'll hand out about open houses and go over some of the big things that we like for our new agents to be on the lookout for. We're excited about Friday, June 9th for the Voices event that David's got going on. We're sponsoring that with Shelter.
yeah, that may be changing, so the date.
Well, whenever it's thrilled, you're part of it. And
I
then,
wanted to say Andrew texted me last night since he's room, I can throw another bus.
I'll let you know the bus is fine. No, we'll just find it later. Yeah, another day.
we'll be here and ready when that time comes. Wednesday, the 14th, we've got book club. So if anyone likes to read about murder, we are your people. Diary, and that'll be Wednesday, the 14th at 5 p.m. So just shoot me a message if you want to join. It's a lot of fun. And then Wednesday, June 21st, I've talked about flipping mojitos a couple of times. It's a really fun networking event. So it's right here at the forum at Mojitos from 6 to 9. So come visit, have a drink, have some snacks. It's a lot of fun. We've got happy hour coming up on June 22nd with Shelter, McMichael, All Atlanta, and Oak Insurance. So make sure that's on your calendar. We've got another coffee talk on June 26th, with Shelter 10 to 11. And then I'm pretty excited because June 27th is National Sunglasses Day. So, we'll be celebrating that. So you'll have to come visit us on it. And as always, I appreciate you guys so much. And don't forget to put O'Kelly Story on page 1 of your contract. Have a wonderful day.
Meredith, come on up. I'm usually our breakfast sponsor is the first one to talk, so I am sorry that I just skipped right over that. So come on up. This is Meredith from Residential Inspector of America. Yes. Yes, perfect.
Hello, I've already introduced, but I am Meredith with Residential Inspector of America. Hopefully you guys have heard of us or even worked with us before. We've been in business since 1989, and in that time, we've had over 150 inspections. So with every home inspection, we offer $100,000 in warranty free. So it just comes with every home inspection that you get done. In that home inspection, or with that warranty, I'm sorry, it covers 1 year of full structural warranty, a 5-year roof leak warranty, 90-day structural mechanical, 90-day mold, 90-day sewer. So really, if any of those happen within the time frame, you can give our company a call and we will walk your clients through the process of filing a claim. Yes.
I was curious, so if you guys inspect a house with like a 27-year-old unit, and it leaks in 8 months, RA will pay to come past the roof?
Yeah, so if we do a home inspection and we say that the roof is fine, even if it is older, and then within 5 years it leaks, we will cover that.
Okay.
You just have to give us a call and they'll walk your client through the process of filing the claim.
Okay.
We also do recall check, which a lot of agents really like. So when we go through the house, all the inspectors take note of all the major appliances, and if any of those get recalled, your client gets an email with your face attached to it, so it's a little extra branding, just saying, hey, this appliance has been recalled, so that they can go through, you know, whoever the appliance is with to get it replaced or their money back or whatever it is. I did not know this before I started working here, but 1 in 3 people have an appliance in their house that has been recalled. So I'm sure lots of people in this room have an appliance in their house that's been recalled. And don't even know about it, which can be a major safety concern. So it's just it's a nice little extra branding, but also some extra protection for your clients. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna do a drawing, but I know a lot of people came in a little late, so if you have a business card, and you wanna throw it in before we do that?
I have a question for you. How did you get the red light grants?
They. Yeah, I have never encountered this road inspection, but I've also.
Okay, we'll go ahead. While she's collecting board shelter, why don't you guys come on up and then we do the drawing in a second.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
For Matt, it's in this whole integration deal, I just wanted to talk on what we talked about on condos. So with our parent company, Res, if we have originated a condo through, you know, any of their, I guess it would be, you know, companies that are direct lenders for them, if any of them have originated a loan in that condo complex, we have a fast track condo approval. So instead of having to go through the whole process of getting the questionnaire, you know, having to hassle the HOA and get all these documents, sometimes we already have those approved in our system to where, you know, seamless transaction, and we can still close it relatively quickly. So I know that causes a lot of headache, that's just another additive advantage with us running on a condo, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Bear bad news today on the rate. So we hit a 2-month high. They surged up to 6.9% national average as of this morning. They're still shooting up today. Big question is what's happening with the rates? Why is this happening? So Barry Habib, quoted him before. He's founder and CEO of MBS Highway. A lot of lenders, mortgage companies go to him for, you know, advice and what he's seeing in the market. Ultimately, he attributes it to the recent run up in banks being forced to sell assets due to the banking environment. He believes this is something that's short term right now. The economy and the banking sector is going to kind of fix itself, but the key fundamental to these rates is inflation. And you know, we thought the last release was going to be a little bit more positive on inflation. They changed some numbers before that came out. They're now expecting June 13th to be the big date where we see a big drop in inflation, and that could push rates down. So just keep that date in mind. And then I want to test to see who listened last week at team meeting. So we've got the first time home buyer program that we've got Borrow Smart. We're able to get specialized interest rate pricing and a grant, $3,000 grant. What is the income limit that the client has to be under? I think first person to blurt it out.
133. 133.
Sandy's got it.
Sandy got it.
Sandy's got it.
Sandy's got it.
They send it.
134.
Oh, darn.
Thanks,
Thanks, Dallas. I'll share this with you.
Yeah.
You bring the glass, we'll share. Why not?
All right. I am, yeah. I gotta get the condo stuff out there while we're on the condo subject, so I'll chop it up.
Okay, go right ahead.
So speaking of the borrow system product, we have, on average, we actually have 5 deals under contract right now, and we're saving the clients on average like $217 a month using this product. So again, it's for first-time home buyers. If there's two people on the loan, only one of them has to be a first-time home buyer. So we can have a co-signer who currently has, has owned property in the past. Again, the income limit is right around 133,500. It is for Metro Atlanta, but there are some surrounding areas. I have one in Smyrna right now. I know you have one in South Atlanta. And so that is going to get us about 0.375 to 0.5% lower interest rate. So yesterday I got somebody locked in at 6.5 with no points. We're right at coming up on 7%. Now rates have gone up a little bit since then. However, still very competitive, and getting rates as low as we can. So if you guys have someone that's looking to, see if they qualify for that product, give us a call.
And one quick thing, Renee, sorry, before you.
No, you
A
guys.
lot of people don't know this. I know you guys are smart enough to know, but I had a client yesterday, I'm not gonna qualify for anything first time. I owned a home back in 2007. So for mortgages, what we look at is they cannot have owned a house, they cannot have been on title of a home in the last 3 years. So if it was 4 years ago when they sold the previous house, technically for us, they're now a first time home buyer.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so Ashley did a great job. She's in training, as you can tell, so I'm gonna shore that up here. For the CE that we offer tomorrow, please do not forget to sign up for this. We are doing Chick-fil-A for lunch. It's gonna be really yummy, something different. Hunter and Matt are teaching under the title. Doesn't sound super exciting, the mysteries of underwriting, but I promise it'll be a fun class. It's a different CE than anything you probably have done, so do sign up and come. It's not too late. Then Thursday, we have another exciting class I'm really excited about, how to host a client appreciation event. You have Brian coming in to help, Hunter, Emily is teaching, and Nina. So you have lots of people from a good perspectives. If you're a new agent, this is definitely the class for you as well, because we're going to teach you low-cost ways that you can do a client appreciation event. And then Ashley mentioned a lot of the other stuff that's set for on June 21st. We are gonna have a on-site ES Murphy class with Kim, one of Kim Adair's homes that she's found not for sale, but a great property that we're gonna do. If you missed this class last year, the one with the inspector and the appraisal on site, walk around with both of them. It is a CE, is the great class. And then lastly, the happy hour that she mentioned is something different, is bowling. Very exciting down here at the Bowl-Rama.
Yes.
Bolero. Bolero. We will need you to sign up for that one because we have a commitment level, and the flyers for all that and the sign up will be coming out I hope this week for that. So
When's the bowling?
it's June 22nd. 5 to 7, our normal happy hour time every Thursday. It'll be a lot of fun, something different to do. So, and then if you don't want to sign up this way, this is at the front desk to sign up for the CE tomorrow. So anyway, lots of fun, exciting stuff. So it's,
Guys?
in person only. These are in person.
But it will be recorded and sent out, so if you miss it, you will not get CE credit, but you can still watch it if that's what you want.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't sign off.
Correct, if you want CE hours or Chick-fil-A, you have to come in person. And you can sign up here or online.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the perfect example of parachuting in on a deal. To do that, I was supposed to be here at that time, but I decided to drive all over the county to find rooms for my truck. So I apologize for coming in a little bit late. I don't know if Kelly's not on there.
How do we get up?
Okay, and if you want to come on up. you can talk. Oak Insurance.
Yeah, Andrew Daniels, Oak Insurance, I can talk about the condo stuff, keep things going. If you have a buyer who's buying something that looks like a townhouse, there's probably a good chance that it's actually a condo. So you can usually ask the HOA if they have a master policy to figure out if it's a condo, but I've run into a lot of people that are buying things that look like townhouses, but that they're actually condos, and they've had policies written for townhouses, which are a lot more expensive because you have more coverage. But with a condo policy, you're kind of piggybacking off of the coverage that the master condo policy is providing, so it's a lot cheaper. So if you are selling any condos or townhouses, give me a call. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You're up. Technology. I hear you've got a lot of technology.
Yes. We are gonna talk about social media today. I'm excited. There's-
Yeah.
Great. So I am gonna give you some strategies to use in your social media. We have 10 strategies and I'm gonna give you a bonus, okay? So, when you're out there, promote the area, not just the house. And if you have a handle, use it. So if you're in Johns Creek, I know Johns Creek has a handle, I think it's Johns Creek GA. But if you're out just looking at houses and you've gotten permission from real estate agents to feature them, go ahead and have that handle. That'll be a nice little touch. And sometimes they will even like use it in their stories. And then you'll get a few more eyes on your search. Be authentic. That one is key, I think. You can't pretend to be anything but yourself. So if you're a stats person, like spreadsheets, then that's something that you can do, like market updates and stuff like that. But it has to be genuinely something you do. If you're someone funny and you want to take a little sound clip and do a reel with that, because that's your personality, definitely do that. Okay, so that is just be authentic. Educate your audience. So come from a place of like, we get so many good tips on Tuesdays from our mortgage lenders, from everyone, our lawyers. That's something that you can. You're blessed. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Now that I've been back. Yes, so to come from a place of education, just because you know something doesn't mean they do. I mean, you're here a lot, you're learning, so it's something to think about. Engage with your followers. This is key. If you don't have social media, this isn't something that you need to necessarily delve into, but if you are looking at people and liking things, stop and leave a comment. I think you will see a big turnaround in how they react to your things if you are engaging with them. So the more that you engage, the more people will engage. Always reply to comments and messages. This one is huge, especially if you're attacking social media on a very high level. If someone just says, wow, that's beautiful, oh, thank you so much. Always reply as quickly as you can, hopefully at least daily. And then use the third rule. So when I was teaching this class, because it's a class that I teach, but I used Taylor Thompson and she has a great little Instagram page. She is a real estate agent as well. But she uses the 1/3 rule. So a third business, a third personal, and a third hobbies is how she uses her.
What are the real things for hobby?
Then that's it. People need to know that. Absolutely. So in any way that you can make it fun. So yes, another real estate agent who has an incredible page, her name is Wesley Priscilla. And she loves real estate as well as a hobby, but she has like these fun videos of her crawling in an attic space with a hard hat on. So those kinds of things, you're still very subtly telling them, I'm a real estate agent because no one else crawls in attic spaces. But it's you, it's who you are, and it's about who you are. Video is powerful. So as you can see in Instagram and in Facebook, we have those little reels at the top. And because we know they're going away, we have to do those first. So that's how powerful they are. They've already trained us. Ooh, I gotta do the reels before I check out my stories and scroll through them. So just understand that that's a powerful place to start. If you're gonna tell a story, you're gonna do a little mortgage update, whatever you're doing, utilize your videos. And then you can look and track your numbers, like who saw this? How many people liked it? Then you can do more of this. Okay, pay attention to your numbers.
Can I throw something in there? How many people in the room actually do a video with monthly stats and such as that? The question is, why? Why not?
I don't think people really care about it.
I
What if
disagree.
you'd be surprised?
Because I actually do that. And I get a number of comments about that. And I can attest to the fact that, because I do it for the building that I farm, the building that I live in. And I literally have conversations with people on the elevator thanking me for doing those videos. It's the same video that, except it's designed for the building to do that. So what's the reason why you don't do videos?
I do videos, but maybe not the staff videos.
Why not talk about the market side? About what, or what's going on? To show that you're in, one of the things that Gary Keller always talks about, that you should be, so people realize you're serious about the business. Okay, what's the easiest, most cost-effective way to show that you're the expert? So why aren't you doing videos? That's, I know it's sort of a redundant question at this point, but it costs you nothing. And you can go out to a ton of people. Now, not everyone, like you said, not everyone may like it necessarily, but on reels and such that you can go back and see that there will usually be at least a couple hundred people who will look at it. So,
Yeah.
just a thought, give it a try. No one's gonna shoot you, or, you won't get electrocuted when you touch the button on the iPhone. When you do it, cam.
For a reason. If they see your face, you're making it work better. Okay, you're showing them that you know what you're talking about. So, if there's a reason why they're there, so definitely don't apologize for using a video.
And they don't have to be perfect.
We're all human.
The video I had with most followers or people looking at it was the one where Ross followed me around the house touring a house. It was winter and it really was a picture of my butt and a coat. I mean, that's and had it too low the whole time. I had 750 showings on that.
There's a sweet video that I watched this morning of Angelica from the Kairos team. And she is telling somebody that they won an offer and she's just holding up her phone. You can hear the reaction. That's like the coolest thing, but that made me happy. So those kinds of things, think about that. All right. It's not always a first time buyer. All right. So just think about that when you're giving out your information. And should they come back, I mean, the whole reason that you're doing this is to get a response. So even if someone's like, I don't know about that, like, oh, tell me more. Then you've got a little dialogue. Okay. Think about your followers when you post, not just what you want to post. Think about the message that you're sending. Once again, it doesn't have to be in your words. Sam sends out a monthly social media calendar. Fran does too. So there's a lot of content that you can use that you don't really have to think about. So go to that. All right. And invite your previous customers to follow on your page. I actually saw a little conversation on somebody's page where previous buyer and a current buyer talked about the service that was being provided. How cool is that? So don't forget to ask them to follow you as well. And your bonus one is take what you learn off of social media and apply it to the present. So who are you following that's incredible at doing? And how can you rip off and duplicate that, right? Think about those things. Good. That's it.
Okay, yes, you're up. Go right for it.
Oh, I've got a whole list today. That's okay. We'll go share. No, that's my fault. That's my fault.
Good morning. So, a couple of things, just to kind of keep going the little trend about condos. Well, I'll say something about that. Heard about the condominium in Midtown where the crane failed. Yes. Have you guys? How's traffic, by the way?
I did not, they told us not to go down, West Street. It's actually important. But it did not. Oh, yeah, it did. I did see it from a distance. Through there, and I actually could see where the crane was in my house. I can see where the crane was and it's not there anymore.
Well, actually, they counted.
Yeah, everyone.
The problem is they don't know whether the crane is gonna follow, but anyways, we'll keep an eye on it, so be safe.
It's all fast.
So, well, just going along with the condo thing. Now, let me show you something. So we're almost through with May, isn't that crazy? Year, gosh, I mean, next month, we're halfway through the year, right? So, let me give you, and it's not about predict it. I hate that, you know, nobody has a crystal ball, mine broke a long time ago. But we can definitely forecast and project, right? And sort of take a look and see where we're heading, right? Now, if it doesn't follow the direction, we can always say, okay, well, we're not going there, so it looks like we're going this way, right? But we can definitely keep an eye on it. Now, to answer the question about, you know, people don't like stats, some people may not, and that's okay, right? But the problem is not that they don't like the stats, it's the fact they don't understand this. The throwing stats at people really doesn't do a thing, right? But if you're able to say, this is what's going on, and let me tell you why, and let me explain the statistics so they make sense to you, now everybody's engaged, because they definitely want to hear and understand what's going on. So let's keep an eye on the rest of the year. So what will happen with the rest of the housing market in 2023? Any thoughts? What do you think? What do you think will look like?
We're gonna sell houses.
We're gonna sell
We-
houses.
And they're gonna be sold and they're gonna be bought and, you know, all of those things are gonna happen. The question is, how much of it are we gonna get, right? The unfair market share that we talk about. Right? That's the first slide, if you don't mind, right? Will home prices go up or down? Well, that's an interesting question. Who wants to know? Well, homes are staying on the market low. Not seeing a large influx of new listings, that's another fact, right? Current projections average out at 1.1%. Now, why is that? And this is not one entity saying, this is what the pricing looks like for the rest of the year. This is all of them, right? Realtor.com, HPES, NAR, Freddie Mac, MBA, Fannie Mae, and Zelda, right? But if you average their projections, we're looking at 0.1%.
That's national.
That is national, yes. Now, in other words, they're saying, I don't think we're gonna have anything crazy happen. Now, kind of go a little, and come down a little, it could, and it's gonna vary from market to market, right? But overall, it looks, unless something drastic happens, it looks like we're gonna remain on a flat line for the most part, right? With variations. Now, so educate your clients on this by checking in often on both your local and national data to give them the full picture of what to expect. In other words, this is not it, right? We still gotta go back and take a look at the rest of May and June. We gotta go back in July and look at June and what's going on, and we keep up with the trends and we continue to adjust, right? We're just taking the temperature. That's what we're doing when we're providing that information. Next slide. What's gonna happen with the mortgage rates? Well, and the shelter, right? Where did shelter go? It ran out. I know. Yeah.
I'm not in important part, right? I mean, oh, you're looking for this.
In other words, we don't need it.
Give us your analysis.
We're still hearing that rates are gonna come down. I mean, really.
No, these are projections, right? We're not saying, and a lot of it is gonna hinge on that debt ceiling, you know.
Right. Results.
Well, conversation, we're playing chicken, and I think, I mean, I don't know, but I think we're gonna get it, get it done. That's usually what happens, right? The drum. But unless it goes the other way, then there's nothing I want, right? But other than that, it looks like Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and BA, NAR, and the average of all of them indicate that we are gonna be seeing lower rates after June, right? They mentioned June 13 as
Yes.
one of them. The other one is a debt ceiling. That one goes first. So we pass that one, and then we pass June 13. It looks like the rates are tapering down. And if that happens, right? Last year, we saw the largest and fastest rise in mortgage rates. If you didn't notice, that's what happened last year, right? Clients were waiting for those rates to go back down to where they were at the start of 2022. They may be waiting for a long time. So that's definitely something that we want to keep an eye on and tell. Go ahead.
Is that it says January 23 projections? So that's what they were projecting as of January 2023,
That
correct?
is what they were projecting as for the whole year.
Whole
right?
year.
For the
not
whole year.
what we-
Now,
not what we're
look
really
at
hoping.
where we in. This is in January 2023, and this is what they did for 2023, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Now, is it playing out that way? A little.
It
It's a
wasn't
perfect-
until this week, yeah.
Correct. And so what does that tell you? We can forecast, we can look at this, we can ask the experts, we can take the temperature, but at the end of the day, things that happen in the economy will affect the rates, the banking. That was something that we didn't foresee, right? The debt ceiling deal, that's something that we didn't foresee, to be pushing this, this way. But unless something else drastic happens, it looks like we're gonna have lower rates for the rest of the year. We'll see what happens, right? So most experts agree that they believe the peak is over. What happens with mortgage rates is directly impacted by one huge factor affecting the economy right now, which is inflation, okay? So if we take for that, then things may go back to normal. Next slide, if you don't mind. So what would happen with home sales in 2023? What do you think? Where are we? Total sales in 2022 were 5.8 million units. And the current sale projections for this year is 5.1, higher market. There are less properties being listed, less properties being sold than the year before, right? But if you look at the rest of June, July, August, all the way through almost the end of the year, it looks like it's going to level off a little, right? So again, it's a matter of keeping up and track. When we look at June, we're gonna figure out if we actually cross this national average, if we actually cross the peak of the pricing compare year over year. So far, we have been exceeding all the prior years, and I think that's about to change. We'll see how that happens, but it's an adjustment if you ask me, right? So go ahead.
This is saying that June is gonna be the most volume of inventory out there.
That's, this is pricing. This is I'm sorry, this is the number of sales that they're seeing. They're hoping that if the rates, this pricing with the rates, right? If the rates drop, if the rates change enough, they're saying that that's gonna tell the sellers, well, let's go ahead and sell. We're gonna get top dollar, which is an issue, right? Because they're still getting top off of the property, but the perception is that they're not. And then buyers, that's definitely gonna get them off the fence. If we come back, Renee, you agree that if we come down below 6%, even if it's a hair, that's definitely gonna get a lot of people off the fence?
Yeah, and they're even projecting still their first quarter next year, it may be below 5, which if that happens, I mean, then all the people who are sitting on the fence that have mortgage rates in the 2s and the 3s, like some of us do, or refinance, may even get off the fence and keep their current property as an investment property and buy something else. At least that's what I read recently.
So that's what, so the upcoming months should see a return of buyers, if everything works out, as mortgage rates appear to have already peaked and been coming down since mid-November, right? If Matt hadn't mentioned that we had an uptick last night, this morning, right, it would have been perfect. But again, that's just a fact that the rates are completely tied to inflation, completely tied to any of the economic factors that we've been talking about, right? Next slide, if you don't mind. Well, the housing market crash this year, I keep getting that question asked. Are we done? Are the prices coming down? Is this gonna happen? It's a repeat of 2008? No, by no means it's not, right? With the rapid shift that's happened in real estate in the last 12 months, some people are raising concerns that we're destined for a repeat of the crash we saw in 2008. I still hear that. People still remember that it hurt, right? One of the biggest reasons it's like the last time is the number of foreclosures in the market is much lower now. Who was in Aubrey's class in person and online yesterday? We had a little samples, right? Now, one of the sources, and this was invested, right? Was go after the foreclosure, the different stages and whatnot. Well, sorry, I mean, they're still there. Don't get me wrong, they're still there. And we had, look at 2008, 2009, and 2010. Those were the peak years for foreclosures. Look at where we are in 2023. We definitely had an uptick to 88,000 foreclosures.
Is she already?
But why is that?
That's also
Because there was a pause
because of the pause for.
in the pandemic, so they basically said, okay, nobody, but look at where we are. I mean, it's probably one of the normal, if you look at it as a normal level, it's probably one of the lowest numbers. People have equity.
To give you perspective, we're only at about a third foreclosures to the historical rate.
Yeah.
So that's extremely low, right?
So this guy's not fault.
But this is the projection code. Third quarter of this year, right? No.
No, that's the actual number.
That's last year.
So the reality is in the graph on the right, while there are more foreclosures now compared to during the pandemic, when foreclosures were paused. But that's it. In other words, if people say, well, foreclosures have doubled or tripled or quadrupled, not true. It's based on what they're comparing to. If we go back to 2018 or 2019, we're well below the normal averages, right? And let me get the next slide. What does it mean for buyers and sellers for the rest of 2023? Experts are projecting a rise in inventory and a decline in mortgage rates so long as inflation continues to ease. So what happens at the end of the month, what happened in the middle of June, pretty much something that we can keep an eye on, right? Experts suggest that we're heading for a more stable and predictable market, right? Than we've seen in the last few years. There's still a lot of motivation for buyers and sellers in the market, and that is not expected to change in the next year, right? With that likely to change as the year progresses, we're also likely to see projections adjust along with it. Ultimately, the most important role in 2023, what's left of it, right, is to be the educated agent willing to educate. With a combination of data, insights, and an action plan, 2023 could be one of your best years in real estate still. But you have to provide that information. You have to reach out. Why? Because we have less inventory, we have less people willing to enter the market, right? And we can do that, we can change that if we actually take action. That's what I have for you guys. Hopefully this was informative and do a good rest of the year.
Yeah, there's our grants and all. Sorry.
Well, I better agree. I know y'all are know how to be on lunch. Strangers remember I sit around the edge.
I know.
Yeah, this is big, that's our bad.
This is interesting, so what we're talking about, yes, and what he's talking about is interesting too, and the main thing is, if you're going to be working, selling, with buyers, be sure you have a buyer's agreement when you first start working with it. Don't wait till the day you write the contract and get a buyer's agreement, because that doesn't really protect you all the time. You know the buyer's, who does the buyer's agreement protect?
Us.
It protects us, right? Because did you know, if you write an offer and you check with the buyer's a customer, the listing agent can call your buyer and negotiate the contract. Did you know that? So if you want to have any part of this, of course you would have to get paid because they put in the contract, but I'm just saying, if you really want to protect your buyer, be sure you have a buyer's agreement. But if you read the whole thing, the buyer reads it, they'll say, hey, this is more for your protection for the client, right? But the truth of the matter, they don't read it anyway, so just have them sign it, and then you can do your business as well. Right. Also, I want to mention, did you know that in Georgia, there are 120,000 actual agents? And how many of those are real?
Half, maybe.
Half of. So that means that the other half, they don't have to abide by the code of ethics, right? Which means they can say ugly things about you all day and it doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. But that is part of it. So if you're gonna send a referral to somebody out of state, anywhere, I would suggest that you do some careful research on that person who sent it, the agent who sent it. Because that could really surprise you. And I'm gonna tell you about something that's in progress right now, not resolved yet. But we had an agent that sent a buyer to an agent in Florida. And the agent in Florida did not send back the referral, number one. Number two is the buyer already knew which property they were going to buy. So he sent a referral, said, here's this buyer and this is the property they're gonna buy. So all you have to do is write the contract, right? Well, what actually turned out was the agent listed the property. That wasn't. So we're having a little dispute here as to how to resolve this, because the buyer still wants to buy it, but the agent is trying to sell it to other people, told the seller you get more money to sell it to somebody. So very unethical. Fortunately, we did it, and so we're trying to work through that. So I'm just telling you, I know we send referrals all over everywhere. So if you're gonna send a referral to somewhere, try to send it to somebody you know, or if you know somebody, then give you a reference. Good idea. Great to see everybody today. Don't get out.
Amazingly, y'all were getting out on time. One really fascinating, how many of y'all know what KW Cares is? How many of y'all donate to KW Cares? Okay, the rest of you do videos and donate to KW Cares. It's really easy. All you do when you do the sheet or submission thing is to do that. And remember, when it goes into KWRI, KW Cares is tax deductible over the year. And it helps if you have somebody who got here who got a $10,000 grant when those 2009 floods hit and their house totally got demolished in their KW Cares gave them $10,000 to help them out. And then another person was able to get airfare to go back to Europe, you know, they didn't afford to go to for their parents. So there are things that they do help with. Art, I'm assuming you're somewhere in there. Oh,
Didn't do classes.
oh, I thought that she did all the classes.
I am the master of it, David, but no, make you guys replace.
I thought Renee knew all.
Oh, in the drawing. Yeah. You want to do your drawing or? You want to draw it? Sure. Somebody has to. Oh. That was good. Oh, Priscilla. Right, so today, you know, anybody who's looking to get their real estate license, or if you want information, join us on the case score. It is at 5:30 and the link is, you can reach out to me and I will give you the link if I haven't already. It's always the same link. So if I've given it to you, use the same link. Tomorrow, as Renee mentioned, the 3CE Mysteries of Mortgage Underwriting with Matt and Shelter, lunch with Chick-fil-A, and then bilingual sessions from 1:30 to 4. On Thursday, tech appointments with Tyler. Ignite is close the deal, and then as they talked about how to plan and host a successful client appreciation event, that will be a great one. And Friday is Ignite Blast Off. On Monday, Memorial Day, thank you for everybody who has served and for all of that, what you've given to our country. Office staff will be off on Monday, so if you need to come in, be sure to bring your keys. Coming up, mark your calendars, ignore the one in yellow, I think that date's going to be changing. June 5th, agent and investor, this is going to be a great class, it's at the North Atlanta Market Center. It is a GLG event, and this girl, Kelly Henderson, is fantastic. So please RSVP to this. You can do it here. It's also in the newsletter that goes out on Sundays. Also coming up, if you need a new headshot, J Lo, excuse me, will be here on June 20th. Amy is doing an In Focus program on the 22nd of June, which is before our happy hour. And that's my son's 21st birthday. Oh, great. He might have other players. Play day too. Maybe. Coming up also in June is Quantum Leap for Kids. That is a great opportunity for your kids, for your neighbors, for your clients' kids, anybody who's in that young adult range, just to get them to think differently. Quantum Leap is a great event, and then Mega Care is coming up in Austin. Oh. And The ALC has put together for us a leadership library. If you have not seen it, it is over here in that new section. So if you're walking straight down the hallway to get to the restrooms and you enter that glass door, you will see this bookcase. There are a bunch of books in here. It is all stuff to help you better yourself, grow your business, all of that good information that you need. There's a scan code, a QR code on there. You just scan it in, check out the book, you fill out your information. You can keep the book for 30 days. If it goes past the 30 days, if the book comes back in bad condition, then we will just charge your office bill. But this is a great opportunity for you to just look and see what books are there and to borrow something. If you want to donate, feel free to donate.
Yeah, donate books, because we can always add more. There's another bookcase to the side of that one that is empty, so we can add it in there. And you see Michelle, tell her thank you, because it was her idea, and she put it together.
And now we can wrap it up with art. All right, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Good morning, beautiful people of Chat North, and happy Gratitude Tuesday. So it's another great day to be alive, isn't it? Speaking about that, I'm going to share from one of my favorite authors, Dr. Seuss, right? This is the 5 lessons in life. It says that today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one who is alive who is youer than you. Why fit in when you were born to stand out? You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Today I shall believe as if this was the day that I will be remembered. Let's continue to think big, aim high, act bold. Peace and love. Chat North.
Thanks, Art. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Sylvia.
Hey, Art, how are you?
Wonderful.
I just got to the office.
Okay, wonderful to see you as always.
Okay, nice to see you.
Have a great day.
Take
You
it.
Thank you.